Hello everybody, hi, my name's Donna and this is toBe TV, the place to be if you are planning your wedding and looking for a successful marriage. This is Twinkle. I think Kitty made an appearance in one of my previous videos this week. Twinkle decided to come and say hello. She's now gone and settled on her corner of the sofa. Anyway, this week I wanted to talk to you about the top 3 questions that you should be looking to ask your wedding photographer before you book with them. And I've got quite a lot of expertise in this area because I was a wedding photographer for 10 years. So the first 3 questions, and I suppose the top questions that you should be asking, is number 1, are you available on my date? Because regardless of how much they cost, if they're not available on your date, it's a moot point. So you need to look at asking them if they're available on your date. Now, if you have date flexibility still, if you haven't locked down your venue at that point, then obviously you can say we are looking to get married around October, August, whenever it is, and what's your availability, and find out what dates they're available. Find out that first, because if they're not available around the time you want or on your actual wedding day, then there's no point in taking the conversation any further. The second question to ask is, what price point are you? So you can either give them your budget, say our budget is X for a wedding photographer, are you able to work with that? And they'll tell you if they can or not. Or you can ask them, what's the average spend of a client? So that's not necessarily what the average cost of a package is, but what's the average spend that you have with a client for a wedding. So this would be the average of what they spend on the wedding package itself and any extras afterwards or anything beforehand, so engagement shots and things like that. So turn around and ask them, what is the average spend of a wedding client with you? Just so you can get a feel of whether that fits with your budget. If it fits with your budget, then you can go further. If it doesn't, you can say, well, this is our budget. Are you able to work with that? And it may be that they can. It just means that they won't be able to provide you as much as they would for their average spend client. But that's something you need to decide whether you're happy with or not, because if you really, really love their work, even if you're not going to get sort of the full day covered perhaps, or you're not going to get as many images at the end of it unless you pay for more, which don't forget you can always go back and buy more at a later point, but if not as many are included, if they're doing it for a smaller cost, you've got to decide whether that is something you're willing to go with. So ask them what their price point is. After you've done that, then you get into sort of the important questions of what's included in your wedding package. So if you are getting a full package, and a lot of photographers these days I've noticed in my area, because I like to keep my eyes open on the photographers, especially as I'm going to be looking for a photographer soon myself. They're kind of doing all-in-one packages. This is my price and you get everything. That's it, done and dusted. Others do staggered pricing, so you'll have a certain number of hours, a certain number of photos for a certain price. Next price goes up a few £100 and includes more photos and more hours and on and on. Usually about 3 packages. So you can obviously get a lot of detail off their website. Usually if they have their prices on their website, you can see what the packages are. Still good to ask what an average spend is, because if they don't include albums in their wedding packages and things like that, you may find that clients tend to spend more after the wedding than they do necessarily. Like, you obviously would see the amount that they've spent on the package itself on their website, but you wouldn't know what other costs were involved afterwards. So always ask what their average client spend is. You need to look at albums, how you want your photos displayed. I'm very passionate about photos because I was a wedding photographer, and not because I was a wedding photographer, but because I love photography and I love what it can do for you and how it captures memories and how it can spark memories. And I upload all of my images and I put them in a photo book and I get them printed and I have them on my bookshelf. And I love it. I love to be able to go and just pick one up and have a look through and see what we did in a year. And then, heaven forbid anything happened to my phone, I've got my photos in albums, so I will always have those memories to look back on. And it's the same with your wedding photos. That was my long-winded way of saying get a wedding album. And it's nice to have it professionally done. They have access to quality wedding albums. Photo boxes, great to keep your family photos in for a year, but you want your wedding album to be something special. We have moved away from sort of the big ginormous wedding albums that you get these days that are kept in a box in a cupboard that never comes out, but you can still get some really nice smaller sort of 8x8 or 10x10 that you can put on a bookshelf, but it's your wedding album and you can just pull it out at any point and look at it, and it's one of those days that you really, really want to have some nice pictures to look back on. So I'm very, very much an advocate of a wedding album. So ask them what their prices are around wedding albums, how many pictures they put in. Do you get to decide the layout? Usually they will do it, but you get revisions on it. And it's important to say up front if you've got a particular request around that. If you want your day laid out in chronological order, say that to them. I want a chronological album, because sometimes they will tend to sort of pick photos from out the day and group them together rather than do it in a chronological order. So you might find all of your details on one page, which includes pictures of your centerpieces along with pictures of your shoes that were taken in the morning. So if you want it to be more of a progression of chronological progression, then let them know that, so that they don't sort of design the album with what they think it looks aesthetically pleasing to find that it's not what you wanted. Another thing to ask is what time they will arrive and what time they will leave. If they are saying, oh, you get 8 hours, well, what time are they going to turn up? What time are they going to leave? You need to know that, because you need to make sure that you're getting all of your important shots taken within that time. So for instance, if they are doing 6 hours with you and you want them from when you're getting ready, you want those getting ready with your girlfriend's shots in the morning, you need to make sure that you either fake a cake cut or bring the cake cut forward so that you can actually have a picture of you cutting the cake, because that's usually something that's saved for the evening when your evening guests arrive. So it's things like that you just need to logistically know when your professional photographer is going to be there, so you can make sure that all the points that you want photographed are going to get photographed. Also, you can ask them what the overtime rate is. So if they have an hourly rate, if you want them to stay on longer, they usually want that in cash on the day, if you ask them to do that. So just be aware of that. So, we've got to obviously ask the basics of your wedding date availability, how much they cost, or the average spend of a client of theirs, and also what's included in their package. So those are your 3 important questions to ask. So if you have got any questions about wedding photography, you can pull on my 10 years of experience, pop them down in the comments below and I will try my best to answer them. If you've got any questions about anything else related to wedding planning, then do ask in the comments below and I will try and help you out also. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell and you'll know the next time I put a video out. Until next time, see you soon. Bye for now.